So I was at an open mic about a week ago, and I happened to be having a drink of lager, and it was an open mic night, and I saw a mate, and he was like, "I thought you were doing sober songwriter. I thought you were a sober songwriter or something," and it like made me realize in that moment, like, because like when I made this channel, sober songwriter, I just came up with a name I think when I was like not drinking and not smoking weed, and I thought it would be a good name. Like, I had some other names, but then I settled with that because I just thought it sounded like a good name. But it wasn't like the philosophy is to be like 100% sober all the time, or it's not like I've been through some serious recovery or something. Just to clarify on that. But I did want to like have a general philosophy, which is to be generally sober and generally trying to get better at songwriting and trying to live my best life, and then sort of share what I was learning and then hopefully help others through that whole process. And but it did make me think when my mate said that. Well, I was like, that's great that you even you saw that on Facebook. That means the algorithm's working. But I was like, maybe I should be like completely sober. Because I did do it like no drinking for 6 months, and then after 6 months I was in a bar, and it was like before a gig, and for some reason I just couldn't think of an excuse not to, because it was like 6 months. I was like, well, it's been 6 months, and it's not like I got drunk heavily after that or anything, but it went back to like a pretty much any time or every other time I was at a gig, I might then have a beer because I'd made that decision after 6 months. And it's like the 6 months when I actually gave up drinking, although initially like I had some good like work habits, then the work habits actually kind of went back to pretty much the same, in terms of like I was sort of procrastinating and not doing the highest priority work, even though I was not drinking. So it's like, not just giving up alcohol doesn't mean you're suddenly going to stop doing other bad habits. And I think that was what was the rationale behind just not doing the whole completely sober thing, because it was like, well, it didn't work. But yeah, I mean, like if I did like deep sort of introspection on that, like trying to zoom out of my own, of my own body and like look at it from a completely objective perspective, it is a bit of it's still coping. It was a kind of mistake, because I think there's another expression which is something like 100% is a breeze, 99% is a bitch, or something like that. If you say like 100%, or at least for a period, I'm going to do something 100%, it's easy. But I think what I basically am going to do is do a week at a time. I'm going to make one of these videos, and I'm going to say what I'm going to do in that week with a clear positive intention. And I think most weeks it will be to be completely sober. But then I don't want to make some big thing that like, for the next 5 years I'm never going to drink, never going to smoke weed, because then there might be some festival I go to or something in 6 months, and on that particular day I might want to have a drink. I don't know what my thought process will be, but I think on a week-to-week basis, I think I'm pretty much wanting to be sober, and also no weed. So no weed, and also more than that, it's keeping to a sort of schedule that incorporates different parts of my personality and my responsibilities, and like a sort of holistic approach. So what I'm going to do is, after this video, I'm going to like put up a calendar of like what is basically going to be like my my routine, and then in a week's time I'll make another video and I'll say whether I stuck to that plan, and then we'll see if this works. Because I do think like using the internet like to hold you accountable is really good. It's a really good way of using the internet to your advantage, to kind of get in these little groups on the internet where you can kind of encourage each other and hold each other accountable. But I don't think, because in January I made like a post saying, "Oh, I'm gonna finish my album as soon as possible, hold me accountable," but that didn't work at all because I didn't give specific dates, and it was too long term, and it was too, I didn't have an end date for it, so it basically could have been any time this year. So I think, but I do think the accountability does work when you are a bit more short term with the projects. And so after this video, I'm just gonna put like a little calendar of what I intend to do this week. Okay, thanks. Okay, so this is my schedule for week beginning 10th of July 2023. So this is actually a very ambitious schedule for me, but the thing is, it incorporates a lot of time like walking and being in the gym and going out. So it's not really like ambitious, really. It's just like a nice balanced life. Why wouldn't I want to be living like this? Because I don't really have that. Like, I don't keep a schedule usually. And even though I'm sometimes write a schedule at the beginning of the week, it often just becomes like, I'd say I don't get up at 6 o'clock. And then I just blow the whole thing off. I think it's because I make a schedule, but then I just know that I can change it. So one of the reasons I'm making this video is because this cements the schedule that I have to keep to. And at the end of the week, if on reflection I feel like it was too much, then next week I'll make it less. But I just want to do like a week of like doing pretty much the same thing every single day, and trying to find the subtle enjoyment in that, and also not smoking weed, no alcohol this week. I'm just going to take these things a week at a time. Because the people I've talked to who like don't drink as much and don't use weed, the way they say it is, "Oh, I don't think I've even had a drink for about a year and a half. It just sort of crept up on me." So I would like, I think coming at this from a weekly basis, it would just be a bit more like, it gives me like something to sprint for every week. And just to look at this a bit closer, so 6 o'clock till 10 o'clock, I'm going to do like 4 hours of my album, which is my number one priority. And I was thinking in my head, do I want to start at 6 a.m. or is it better to start at 9 a.m? Because some people say you want to get up at the time you're going to get up every single day. And because I work as a musician on evenings, some nights I will probably get to sleep about 1 o'clock. But I still want to get up at 6. I was just thinking about it, and there's something about getting up at 6 and getting like, so by 10 o'clock, you've done like something really important for the day. And it's like, it just feels a bit healthier to be doing that. Obviously next week I could completely change this. Next week I might be, say if I like really get into going out and I end up staying out till 2 a.m, maybe then at that point, then I'll change the schedule. But I'm not going to change it on a day-by-day basis. I'm going to change it on a week-by-week basis. But I'd just like to see what that feels like. Because if I keep to this, there'll be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 28 hours on my album a week, and usually I'll do about 16. So it's a just by having that habit, it means not only do I get more of it done, but by 10 o'clock, that's it. I don't have to think about it anymore. And then I can go on that, like, a nice walk. Also, I want to eat after the doing the album, because I think I heard someone say if you eat a big meal and then trying to work, you can't concentrate as well. So it's better to eat after your important work and then go on a long walk to kind of walk it off. And then maybe so there's a big 3-hour break, and then I'm going to work on my podcast, marketing, etc. And thing is, 2 hours a day. One of the reasons I'm resistant to this is I always think 2 hours a day, I'm never going to get anything done in 2 hours. But compounded every day, if you do that, 6, 8, 10, 14 hours work, and that's way more than on my average I do my podcast. And then I'm going to have one little space at the end, which is to get basically everything else, which is kind of miscellaneous, done, shallow work. And then I've put a little hour there, which is called mess around time, which someone gave me this advice to schedule in messing around time every day. That way you don't have burnout and then completely fall back. If you just have a bit of a buffer, so you can get, an hour where you might go on YouTube or something, or just, mess around. And then at 7 o'clock, though, I want to make it a rule that really whatever is going on, I'm just going to go out, probably to an open mic. And then just because it's not like you have to go out every day, but I feel like I don't make time for it. Going out, and it's just also when I'm going out, it's I can walk around, because I'm trying to get 10,000 steps a day. So if I'm doing a bit of walking earlier in the day and then walking at night, bit of socializing, I just think that's a healthy way to be. And then pretty much every night I could get to bed about 10, and then obviously not Thursday, on Saturday. But maybe the other reason for that mess around time is if I do end up staying up late sometimes, maybe you could have a little nap in the afternoon. That's what my dad does. And I really like that idea of getting up early but then having a nap in the afternoon after. There's something powerful about that. I think just getting up early, and then even though it's the same amount of hours, there's just a different feeling that I get when I look at the clock and it's 6 a.m. and I have to, rather than looking at the clock and it's 11. And obviously I'm going to experiment with this, but this is the one for this week. So yeah, I'll make a video next week and I'll tell you whether I stuck to it or not. Thank you.